Okay, Chan.
Good morning, everyone, and in Washington State. Welcome to the page of Dhamma Buddhist Monastery in Washington. Also, welcome those who are living in Vancouver, Canada. The page of Wat Phutta Panya Nantarama, Vancouver, Canada. And also welcome those who are living in Thailand, even though it's evening time. I will say good evening, Thailand. Welcome to the program of Dhamma for Life today. Today, we're going to discuss about the people and the way. หรือเราใช้ชื่อกันในภาษาไทยว่าคนกับมรรคานะครับ The first section that I will talk today is about the one people that is the one who open up the world for everybody beside the families, beside the parents. That is the educator or a teacher or whatever you call it in English. Maybe we can use the mentor or the preacher. When actually the word preacher is specially used in very specific area. For example, the religions area, those who are teaching the Dhamma, teaching the telling about the dogma of the religions. Yeah, but in general, we call it educator. So, who is the educator, or who should be the good? What is the quality of the good educator? That's what the topic that we're going to talk today. The ones whose duty is to teach and to give or provide the others with the learning, especially a teacher, should have some specific qualities and should observe the principle of conduct that I will outline as following today, this morning. The first one, he is a good friend. Should be a good friend. A teacher should be endowed with the 7 qualities of the good friends. Good friend, we have a specific term used in Buddhism, that is Kalyana Mitta. So those who is Kalyana Mit should have the Kalyana Mitta Dhamma. That is should having the first quality is Piyo. Piyo means endearing. You are the loved one and you also love everyone. That is called endearing. He endowed with kindness, passion, talking and interest in his students and their well-being. He has the rapport. He creates a familiar and casual atmosphere, encouraging his student to approach him with the choirs and adults. And that is the first quality called Piyo. The next one is called Karu. Karu means worthy of respect. he has to be really firm and adhering to the principle. He has a very good conduct that benefit his position, inspiring feeling of the reassurance, refuge, and very safety. That is called a kuru ในภาษาไทยเราแปลคำว่าคุรุแปลว่าเป็นบุคคลผู้น่าเคารพนะครับในภาษาอังกฤษเราเรียกว่า worthy of respect. The next one is called Pawaniyo. Pawaniyo is the quality of inspiring. He must be truly learned and wise, and is one of who really constantly trains and improves himself at all time. He is praiseworthy and explanatory, so that his student can speak, can think of him very appreciatively, confidently, and proudly. Yeah, so this is the quality called the Pawaniyo. ภาษาไทยน่าจะใช้คำว่าน่าเจริญใจนะครับเป็นบุคคลผู้น่าเจริญใจนะครับ The next one is called Watta. The capability of speaking effectively. This is one of the most important. He must know how to explain things clearly and knows when to speak, what to speak, and how to speak. He must give he is able to give a counsel and caution and be able to advise his students. So that's called Watta. Watta ในภาษาไทยก็คือเป็นบุคคลที่รู้จักพูดรู้จักใช้คำพูดรู้จักอธิบายรู้ว่าจะพูดตอนไหนหยุดตอนไหนพูดอะไรพูดอย่างไรนี่เรียกว่า Watta. The next one is called Vajjanakamo. Vajjanakamo is the quality of the patience with the world. Supposed to be willingly listen to the question, no matter how petty or can be bear even in the impropriate or admonishment, and also in the criticism without becoming dejected or offended. Vajjanakamo ในเป็นบาลีน่าจะตรงกับภาษาไทยก็คือเป็นคนที่มีความอดทนต่อถ้อยคำการดูหมิ่นดูแคลนของคนอื่นครับ The next quality of the good educator is Kampiranchaกับถังตักตา He is able to expounding on the profile. He can explain the difficult and really profound subject clearly and able to teach his student even the profounder subject. ก็ตรงกับภาษาไทยว่าคัมภีร์สุขุมภาพนะครับคือสามารถอธิบายเรื่องที่ล้ำลึกเรื่องที่ยากเรื่องที่ลึกซึ้งให้กับนักเรียนหรือให้กับกัลยาณมิตรได้เข้าใจThe next one, which is the last one in this section, is called No Chatane Niyochaye, meaning not leading in the wrongful ways, does not lead his student in the way that he will be in trouble or in the matter that are worthless or improper. ภาษาไทยเราก็คือเป็นบุคคลผู้ไม่ชักนำเข้าไปในที่เรียกว่าอาถรรพ์คือไม่เป็นที่ที่ไม่ปลอดภัยเป็นทางเดินของชีวิตที่ไม่ปลอดภัยนะครับเรียกว่าอาถรรพ์ต้องเป็นบุคคลผู้ไม่ชักนำnot link them to the difficulty ways of life. Then the next one, the teacher or the educators is well dedicated to giving a knowledge by establishing himself in the 5 qualities of one who give a teaching known as the Dhamma Tesaka Dhamma. That is can be explained as the following. The first one is Anubuppikatha. Teachings Anubuppikatha is the teaching step by step in the proper sequence. He teach the principle or the subject matter in order from easy to the abstruse, shallow to the profound in the logical progression. That's called Anubuppikatha. The technique, he has very good technique how to teach the student to understand progressively, gradually, step by step. The next one is called Pariyaya Tasavi. Pariyaya Tasavi. Expanding, he is able to expand on and also clear the main points, able to explain, able to bring the good reason to explain, to clarify the meaning of each aspect and each point. His explanation to enable his student or the listener to clear the difficult subject, able to point out, root out the cause of the problem or the difficulties to be the right understanding with the good reason. Then the next one is called Anuttayata. Anuttayata is the capability of teaching with the heart of the goodwill. He always teach with the mind, with the goodwill, and having a desire for his student or listener benefit always. Then the next one is called Anamisandor, or we call Anamisantara. Having aim not for the material gain. He teach because he wants to teach. He loves teaching without demanding for the material or, for example, money. He focusing on his teaching, the knowledge that he really wants to give student. He does not teach out of a desire for any material or rewards, payment, or the personal benefit. And the last quality in this section, the dedication, is called Anupahaja. Anupahaja is speaking very impartially, and unabrasively. He teach according to the principle, according to the content, with an intention of revealing or discovering the truth and the meaning, neither exalting himself nor sanitizing or belittling the authors. So this one is called Anupacha. And the next section of the good quality is he must maintain the fourfold grace of a teacher. That is the capability him the following technique of teaching. That is called the Santasana. The Santasana is making clear, no matter what he teach, he always explain the reason behind and able to analyze it so that his student or listener can understand the right thing, knowing the reason behind. Open up the scenario of each knowledge, and also leading the student by hand to see for themselves. So his student or the listener will be later on able to criticize, analyze, and synthesize. So that's one is called Santasana. The second one is called Samatapana. Samatapana is willing or inviting the practice. He must teach in such a way that his student can see the significance or the importance of doing what he needs to do, what is need to be done, knowing the value, become really convinced, accept it, and are being motivated to implement, put everything into the practice. So this one is called Samatapana. The next one is called Samutachana. Samutateshana. Samutateshana means arousing the courage. He aroused his student or listener to zeal, interest, fortitude, and firm resolve to the consummate the practice, to fear no difficulty or any hardship. คือต้องเป็นบุคคลที่คอยเร้าใจสร้างแรงบันดาลใจให้กับ student กับนักเรียนหรือว่าลูกศิษย์อยู่เสมอเรียกว่าสมุตเตชนา The next quality is called Sammahangsana. Sammahangsana is inspiring joy. He always creates an atmosphere of fun, cheerfulness, joyousness, and very delight. He always inspires his listeners with hope and maybe a vision of good result and the way to success. The very good example that I can see this quality is อาจารย์ธวัชชัย อาจารย์ธวัชชัยเป็นบุคคลที่เป็นพระที่สอนได้มีบุคลิกมีลักษณะวิธีการสอนในข้อนี้เป็นอย่างมากเลยนะครับอาจารย์คือปลุกให้ล่าเริงใจอยู่ตลอดเวลา That is inspiring joy สัมปหังสนาคือไม่เบื่อฟังธรรมะจากอาจารย์ธวัชชัยแล้วไม่เบื่อนะครับแม้ว่า topic even that topic is very difficult to understand or easy to understand อาจารย์ธวัชชัยมีความสามารถที่จะอธิบายให้ผู้ฟังได้รู้สึกล่าเริงแล้วน่าติดตามอยู่ตลอดเวลาสนุกไปกับการฟังนั่นเองครับคำว่าสัมปหังสนานะครับin brief, this can be summarized as a teaching to clarify or able to moderate or the question, the knowledge, or able to motivate or rouse and be delight. Yeah. Then the next section of this quality, the quality is he used always the three gauge. Briefly speaking, a teacher may examine himself with the three kinds of manners that characterize how the Buddha taught. The first one is he always teach with a true knowledge, having very firm knowledge in himself, acquire always a true knowledge and accomplish his goal. The second one, he teach logically so that the student or the listener can be clearly see the meaning with their own wisdom. Then the last one in this section, the quality is he teach pragmatically accomplishing the objects of the teaching by, for example, guiding his listener to the true understanding, to see the truth, to actualize the practice, not only actualize but can visualize the benefit and to able to attain the result of his own practice. So this is the principle of the three gaze. Then the next section is he must be perform the duties of teacher to the student always. He must conduct himself towards his student by helping them accordingly to the teaching that compare to the right direction. By following qualities. The first one is he always trains them to be good. This is the duty of the teacher in the right direction. The second one is he must guide the student through understanding. The next one, he teach always the subject in full. The next one, he must encourage and praise his student goodness, the abilities, and allows them to full expression. And he must provide a protection for all direction, that is teaching and training them to so that they can actually use their learning skill to make living and also know how to conduct themselves well and having a guarantee for smoothly leading a good life and attaining the happiness and prosperity. That should be the main object for a good teacher. Because the teacher is positioning in the right direction. ซึ่งอันนี้ก็อยู่ในทิศ6นะครับซึ่งบุคคลผู้เป็นครูอาจารย์ก็จัดอยู่ในทิศเบื้องขวาเพราะฉะนั้นก็ต้องมีหน้าที่แล้วก็ปฏิบัติตนตามที่ผมได้กล่าวไปนะครับ Then come to the learner. We already have the educator. So we must know the qualities of the learner so that it will be actually this world is comprised of two people, the teacher and the student. We may use the word pupil, student, or the researcher, where the technical term for the learner is also the researcher, the one who searching or researching something. So we call student as a researcher as well. Looking to the one who is learning, whether a pupil or student or a researcher, the teaching for one who is to be successful, namely the four wills in Pali we call it Jackri แล้วก็ Ittibasi that is the four pathways to success Ittibasi these two dhammas are not only things to bear in mind there are also some point or the following principle that we can learn and practice to observe. The first quality is knowing the hero of learning. He will understand the two factors for arrival. That is the good external factors. The good external factor is having a good friend. This is the first factor. Having a good friend or what we call it kalyana mitta, which refer to the associating with the teacher, advisor or friend, which compare as the vehicle of learning. Such as the book. It also includes having a general social conditions that are wholesome and be helpful. All of this will encourage or arouse the arising of wisdom to the process of listening, discussing, seeking advice, reading, and even researching. This also entail being selective about the use of the mean, the use of the mass media also. ผมกำลังพูดถึงปัจจัยภายนอกก็คือการมีกัลยาณมิตรที่ดีอันนี้เป็นปัจจัยภายนอกเป็นปัจจัยแรกที่จะทำให้เกิดการเรียนรู้เป็นที่เราใช้คำพูดว่าเป็นบุพภาคของการศึกษานะครับ knowing the hero of learning ในภาษาอังกฤษเราใช้คำว่า hero of learning Then the second factor is the good internal factor คือเป็นปัจจัยภายในที่เรารู้จักกันก็คือโยนิโสมนสิการะโยนิโสมนสิการ that is the internal factors which is the proper use of thinking knowing how to think or being skilled in thinking that is seeing things with the critical reflection, tracing their cause and effect, unable to analyze an object or the problem in order to see as it is. And in the terms of its casual conditions until one can see the true nature and can solve the problems or able to bring about the benefit. In short, it's knowing how to rely beneficially on the people and things around and also knowing how to be self-reliant and also make oneself a refuge คือท้ายสุดแล้วย่อๆก็คือเราสามารถพึ่งพาและได้ประโยชน์จากคนที่อยู่รอบตัวเราท้ายสุดแล้วเราก็จะพึ่งพาตัวเราเองได้ด้วย2ปัจจัยนี้ก็คือปัจจัยภายนอกกับปัจจัยภายในปัจจัยภายนอกก็คือการคบหากัลยาณมิตรเป็นบุคคลที่สามารถให้คำปรึกษาชี้นำแนวทางเราได้ส่วนปัจจัยภายในก็คือโยนิโสมนสิการ the systemic consideration the good internal factors the next principle or the section of a good listener or learner is having the guarantee of a life that is progressing having learned of the two hero of the learning one must put them into action or able to put them into practice in our own life and also able to develop another the 5 qualities which is bringing the total to 7 which are known as the aura of the good life the aurora of the good life แสงเงินแสงทองของชีวิตเองครับ or the dawn of the education the Buddha compared them to from the Tripitaka the Buddha compared them to the light of the dawn which always precedes sunrise because of these qualities the capital foundation which is guarantee that the learning will advance and life will progress to the virtue and success that can be exalted and noble which are the following that we'll talk the first quality is always seeking one must really guarantee that we are in the seeking our source of the wisdom and good example the second one is having a discipline as a foundation for one life developments the next one is having a heart that aspires to learning and constructive action dedicating oneself to training for realization of the one full human potential the next one is adhering to the principle of conditionally seeing things according to the cause and effect able to establishing oneself in the heedfulness thinking wisely so as to realize benefit and see the truth so these are what is called a dawn of education or the aurora of a good life หรือในภาษาไทยเราเรียกว่าแสงเงินแสงทองของชีวิตที่ดีงามหรืออาจจะใช้คำว่ารุ่งอรุณของการศึกษานะครับ Then the next one is the practicing according to the principle of encouraging the wisdom. So in this practice, he may bring about the two conditions for right view that I already mentioned above. I already mentioned earlier by the following principle known as the four Vutti Dhamma, the condition conductive to the development of the wisdom ก็คือวุฒิธรรมนั่นเองครับวุฒิธรรม4ประการ which is the first one is สัพพุริสสังเสวะสัพพุริสสังเสวะ is associating with the wise รู้จักเลือกคบหาสมาคมกับแหล่งวิชาคือการคบหาท่านผู้รู้ He knows how to select the source of the knowledge and associate with the learned people who are really virtuous, wise, and worthy of respect. Then the next one is Satthamma Sasaiva Savana. Mean hardening to teaching. Listen very attentively to the teaching and advice. Always search for knowledge from the people and from the books or listening. For example, the mass media. He always apply himself to the learning and searching, seeking and advice, making themselves to attain the true knowledge. So this one is called Satthammasavana. The next one is, which I already mentioned earlier, that is the Yoniso Manasikara, the thinking wisely, having learned, seen, read or heard about something that reflect on himself, able to analyze, even to see in the sight, in order to see the true nature and look into it to see what, when, where, why, and how. So he is able to see his own merits. What is the merit? What is the demerit? What is the benefit and harm? This is called the way of the capability of thought or thinking. Yoniso Manasikara. Everything, when you think, you have to think systematically, or we call it systemic consideration. The next one is called Dhamma Dhamma Patibata. That is the practicing in accordance with the principle. We have to understand the principle of that knowledge, and then we have to follow. We have to practice along, not against. And that's how you learn in fullness, or in the full knowledge. Put them into an action. Fully consider and put them into practice correctly in accordance with the principle of a Dhamma or the teaching. Able to approach someone with the same action as we are doing. Practice them in harmony, the harmonious action with overall object and can project to the right direction of practice that will exist in the mind when he continuously practice. For example, when you practice, the contentment is a great support for an effort, and it will not leading the practice into a laziness. I think this one is I used to study from Anguttara Nikaya, Jatuka Nibata. The contentment of the practice, which is called Dhamma Patibat. So learning about the principle of the practice that is called the Dhamma Patibat. เสร็จแล้วเราก็ปฏิบัติตามหลักการทางสายกลางนั่นเองนะครับ Then the next one is learning to be learned. Learning to be learned ที่เรารู้จักกันในชื่อของที่เราใช้คำว่าพหูสูตรนะครับศึกษาพยายามเล่าเรียนศึกษาให้เป็นพหูสูตร That is learning to be learned. So whatever he learned or he study, he always make himself well in the way by increasing and clarifying his own knowledge, understanding, comprehensively understanding until he is endowed with the 5 qualities of the learned ones, which is the learned one, the fully learned one is called พหูสูตรหรือในภาษาไทยเราเรียกว่าพหูสูตรLet's see what are the quality of Pahu Sutta. The first one is hearing much. He learn, hear, see, experience, read, and up to the most and very extensive amounts of knowledge in his field. I underline in his field.การจะเป็นพหูสูตรได้ก็คือต้องเป็นพหูสุตตะก็คือต้องฟังมากๆ hearing much or much hearing then the next one is Thatta the meaning in Bali means retaining after you hearing you must be able to retain that is able to grasp the gist or the essence or able to remember the subject matter accurately ก็คือนอกจากฟังมากแล้วต้องมีความสามารถจำได้มากด้วยถึงจะเป็นบุคคลที่ได้ชื่อว่าพหูสูตรฟังมากจำมากจำได้มาก Then the next one is called Vajjasa Palichita Vajjasa Palichita is becoming the fluent able to recite or to speak about a subject really often so that he is really fluent in and clear about it and can answer any question about it. What matter question about that subject, he able to always answer. That's called is วัจสาปริจิตาก็คือถ้าภาษาไทยเราก็เรียกว่าคล่องปากถามอะไรปุ๊บตอบได้เลยทันทีนี่เป็นอีกคุณสมบัติหนึ่งของบุคคลที่ได้ชื่อว่าพหูสูตร The next quality of the พหูสูตร is มนัสสานุเปกขิตา Manasa Nupekita is becoming thoroughly familiarized. He always think about the subject so often that he is thoroughly familiar with. Whenever he calls to the mind of the content, it's so vivid to him, and he's always perceive it clearly and thoroughly. คือเป็นบุคคลที่นึกถึงเรื่องใดในครั้งใดก็เรื่องราวนั้นเนื้อความนั้นก็สามารถปรากฏขึ้นมาได้ในจิตใจอย่างชัดเจนคือคุณสมบัติของความเข้าใจนั่นเองเข้าไปในใจเลยความรู้นั้นเข้าไปประทับอยู่ในใจเลยเราเรียกว่ามนัสสานุเปกขิตามนัสสานุเปกขิตาจึงเป็นคุณสมบัติค่อนข้างจะพิเศษนิดหนึ่งนะครับ Then the next quality of the พหูสูตรเรียกว่าทิฏฐิยาสุปฏิวิชาทิฏฐิยาสุปฏิวิชา means having penetrated he able to clarify understand all overall meanings and rationale of the subject. He is really totally penetrating the subject, knowing its source, knowing its logic, knowing the relationship between contents and detail within the subject itself and in the relation to other subject within the same field or the theory. And then come to the last quality of the good learner or the student. That is honoring the lighter of the lamp. That's what I use. In terms of their relation within the teacher, the student should show respect to him as the right direction according to the teaching on the sixth direction. We already discussed the sixth direction probably like 3 months ago when we began this program, Dhamma for Life. So the duty of the student, the first one is rising to greet the teacher and show respect to him. The next one, approaching the teacher to care for and attend him, to consult, receive advice from him. The next one is hardening well so as to gain the wisdom. The next one is serving a teacher and running errands for him. the last one is learning the subject respectfully and earnestly, giving the task of learning its due importance ผมกำลังจะพูดผมได้กล่าวถึงเรื่องทิศเบื้องขวานั่นเองนะครับที่ผู้เป็นนักเรียนหรือนักศึกษาควรปฏิบัติกับบุคคลผู้เป็นครูอาจารย์นะครับก็คือความสัมพันธ์ระหว่างครูกับศิษย์นั่นเองนะครับ so this is what the two people that living together in the world one is teacher one is a student and the noble relationship between them that is really more important so those are the qualities of a teacher and the student that the Buddha mentioned in the Tripitaka that I have brought for you today I wish this topic will benefit less or more for those who are joining this program, listening this Dhamma talk today, and that is it, and that is the end of the Dhamma talk today for in the program of Dhamma for Light, and I thank you everyone who listening and joining this program, and I will come back to see you again next Friday early morning. Thank you, Ajahn Chawatchai, and thank you for all folks and family.Have a great day.
Thank you, Yom Shas. Thank you so much for everyone, and see you next Friday.